there is a level where you can tackle international problems, and that is the European Union. To me, the European Union is a toolbox with which I can try to meet some challenges that are by nature international, such as peace and security, such as climate change, such as a range of economic problems we are facing today, and many, many more. Our relationship to the poor countries, for instance, our struggle for the respect for human rights. You will never be able to tackle all these issues with one small country alone. You'll have to cooperate with others, and that is what a European Union is meant for. Of course, the biggest achievement is something that we take for granted today, that is peace. It is. I am from the generation after the war, but I have been raised in this very sharp realization that peace is not a given, that stability is not something you can ever take for granted. You have to cooperate. And of course, this argument does not impress young people today. Nevertheless, it remains a very valid argument to continue cooperation. Nobody in the European Union is afraid that your house will be plundered the next day. Nobody is afraid that your group of people will be persecuted tomorrow. This is all impossible because we are all more or less, and with errors and with many mistakes and many things that can be improved, we are all democracies where the rule of law exists, where you can go to court if your rights are being violated. And this very imperfect situation, you call this stability, and you call this rule of law and democracy. And that is the European area, the European Union we are in. And I think the EU attracts countries to democracy like a magnet. Look at, for instance, Turkey. Minorities in Turkey are extremely happy with this whole process of the accession of Turkey and are afraid of stopping this process, that this process might stop, because not only torture has diminished in Turkey, not only the rights of the Kurdish minority is being respected far better than 10 years ago, but the whole Turkish state has become more democratic in the course of approaching the European Union. There is a drawback today, as Erdogan, Prime Minister Erdogan is oppressing demonstrators who should have the right to demonstrate. And we have to react on that. But on the whole, Turkey has made a huge progress if you look at the process in terms of decennia. The European Union is founded on these values and should better live up to them in its relationship with other countries, like China, in its relationship to the few dictatorships that are still present in Africa. We could be much stronger in living up to our own values. But I do believe that the European Union has a tremendous tradition, and that its best export products since 3 centuries are the ideals of respect for every individual and the ideals of democracy and freedom. Well, you know, the Dutch social democrats, as all social democrats, we stand for a fair world with equal chances, equal opportunities for everybody, and then let 1,000 differences blossom. But fair chances. So we do this within the European Union and also outside. I'm very busy, engaged in development policies. Lots has to change. Lots of things have to change. We have to reform a lot, but principal thing remains that the lack of equal chances, social inequity, leads to tension, to violence, and to a lack of economic growth, what you need is a sound policy in which you allow every citizen to make the best of his or her capacities and dreams. This is what I do. My biggest achievement, perhaps in 2008, I managed to secure 1 billion euros in a very short time, by the way, in a few months only, 1 billion euros in order to tackle the food crisis. Food prices had doubled, tripled, and in many developing countries this led to famine, to disaster, meaning that people needed to boost their local agricultural production very fast. So with this 1 billion euros, I managed to help a few 100,000 farmers throughout the world to boost their production very fast and to bring this to local markets so that they became less dependent on world prices because they had their own produce. I think that was a success. Of course, I did many other things, but this is the thing I'm most happy with.